Welcome into the CHGO Blackhawks postgame podcast presented by PointsBet. Use promo code CHGO when you sign up to get 2 risk-free bets up to $2,000. I'm Jay Zawaski. With me is Greg Boysen. We're going to talk to Mario Tirabassi live from the United Center in a few moments. Hawks lose 5-2. I would say that the game does not reflect the score because it was 3-2 with less than 2 minutes left. But it kind of does. The Hawks should have lost by more than that. So the score is probably correct. It should not have been close at the end of the game. But, hey, I got to give the Hawks a little bit of credit here. After a horrible start against the Calgary Flames, made a game of it, played really hard, played pretty well. But on the Blackhawks curve, of course. We're not comparing them to the Avalanche or the Panthers or everything. But as far as Blackhawks periods go, the third period was pretty strong, and it's a shame it took them 35 minutes or 40 minutes to get double-digit shots on goal.
Yeah.
Nailed it.
Yep, got it. Again, slow starts against good teams is going to doom you. I'll give the Hawks some credit. They fell behind 2-0 on 2 horribly defended goals. They could have easily packed it in and said, "The hell with this, we're done," and lost 9-0. But they, Tyler Johnson had a real nice goal, got him back into it, and then we sat there watching that third period, and I said, "How the hell are they only down a goal right now?" And I said, Daryl Sutter is not going to be happy if they hang on and win this game. He's not going to be happy because there's no way the Hawks should have been in that game. And then the 2 empty netters at the end made it more of a blowout game. It was never really as close as 3-2 even suggested. They got the goal from Tyler Johnson. It was a nice play. Taves made a nice pass. He was aiming for Dominic Kubelik's stick, missed it, and Johnson was right there and made a nice bar-down shot. Only his second goal this season, so good for him. That line was really good tonight.
Yeah, they were solid.
Kubelik was very noticeable. It was most noticeable he's been in a while.
No doubt about that. It was one of his better games. And when you look at the line score for him, just an assist, -1, 1509, a shot on goal, one more shot attempt, 3 hits, which it's got to be a career high for Kubelik. But, yeah, just, I think it was just...
He was more active on the forecheck. He was hustling.
I thought so, too.
Like, he was just noticeable. I'm not saying he was great, but there's how many times have we watched the game and then scroll down the stats and go, "Oh, that's right, Dominic Kubelik played tonight. I had no idea."
Yeah.
Tonight was not one of those nights. He was out there. He was noticeable. Like, that line had some chemistry. I would imagine Derek King, we can ask Mario if, Derek King's always quick to give credit to a line when they click. So I wonder if that was something he mentioned after the game. So that was their first goal. Second goal, Alec Regula's first NHL goal.
Good for him.
A little bit of a fluke.
Right.
Probably a goal that a guy like Jacob Markstrom should have had, and he even recognized it in his postgame, saying that they asked him about the first goal, and Regula said, "Yeah, I owe Markstrom a steak dinner after that." So he's probably not wrong, but it's a line drive in the paper, as my dad used to always say. So you take it. The Blackhawks will take a goal any way they can get one.
Yeah,
it was a big goal.
And we've said it for weeks. Like, you've got to put the puck on net sometimes.
Yeah, shoot.
They are unable, as currently assembled, if it's not the Kane, Strome, DeBrincat line, to have a sustained shift in the offensive zone. So when you get a chance and you have a look and you have possession, start pumping the puck on net and hope it hits somebody, hope it gets redirected, whatever. It doesn't have to be a highlight reel goal. It just doesn't have to be. And
hockey is a weird, dumb sport.
Yeah.
One of the silliest out there. You never know what's going to happen.
Well, the one really nice goal Calgary scored is when the Hawks forgot that Johnny Gaudreau is good.
Yeah.
And just were like, well, here. why don't you take this corner, why don't you take 25% of the offensive zone yourself and just pick your spot, and we'll just watch.
Do 3 complete laps around the rink, and then when you're ready to shoot, nobody will get in your way. Taylor Radish decides, hey, I'm gonna go
over here now.
I'm gonna go guard the guy at the right point that's got 1 goal on the season instead of the guy with 39 freaking goals.
Yeah,
like that was just the stupidest play I've seen in a while. The first goal Calgary scored, we were joking. Lincoln makes the first save of the game, doesn't give up a rebound, and I put out on Twitter, hey, no rebound, baby steps. And as soon as I hit tweet, it's behind him again. And that was that was Calgary shooting the puck at the net. It hit a body and it went in. I hope that's a teaching moment for Caleb Jones. He put the body on Dubé in front of the net, but he didn't. His stick was up. He wasn't trying to tie up the stick. So if your stick is up, you're trying to push the guy out of the way. But he didn't push him anywhere. So you either tie up his stick or push him out of the way. He did neither. And that was a goal.
Right.
Pick one. Don't do neither. Do one of them. Either push the guy or tie up the stick. Failed to do both of those, and he deflects it in for that first goal. And that's just a punch to the stomach. This is a team that has trouble starting. They either score first early and then forget to play the rest of the period,
right?
Or they decide that, hey, we're down 2-0. I guess we should start playing. And tonight was that second option.
We got a comment from our guy Skokes. He says, "Is Reichel ever going to score?"
Nope.
I'm not mad, but what's the point of having him up here when you're not letting him play many minutes? Yeah, he was a team low 9:19 of ice time in this one. Mackenzie Entwistle obviously goes down with an injury. He only had like a minute and change of ice time, but as far as people who played the entire game go, Reichel was a team low, and you're down, put the offensive players on the ice. That's, to me, it's, I don't know. We're probably picking nit at this point because there's a ton of guys who are trying to win jobs on this team and guys who played well and effectively. You probably deserved a little more ice time. But if Reichel's going to be here, if you're going to burn that contract year, which we discussed on the last podcast, play him. Put him out there.
You're already down a forward. So what's the ice time so low when you're already down to 11 forwards? And Whistle left that game in the first period, so it wasn't like that was a late injury. So
what we know about Derek King is that the way he sends his message is through playing time.
And he even said that. Yeah, he told us
something must have happened with Reichel.
He didn't like something.
Multiple times, because when he was on with us last week, he said, if a guy makes a mistake, I'm not going to bench him the whole game. That's not helpful, but you send him for a shift or two, talk to him, and then send him right back out there to try again. But the fact that Reichel only played 9 minutes at this game tells me that Derek King was really unhappy with a certain aspect of his game, and hopefully he addresses it in the postgame, and we'll talk to Mario when he joins us from the UC in a few moments here. But, yeah, I mean, look, for me, if you're going to burn that year and he's going to be here, you have to give him top 6 minutes. You have to. There's no point otherwise of having him up here. If you're trying to protect him for a Rockford playoff run, then send him back down to Rockford, right? I don't know. I don't get the point, and hopefully Derek King can clarify why exactly he played so little of this game, because as a fan, I was frustrated. Like, well, come on. Like, he's here. Put him out there. You need to go late. Put him out there. It's a guy who's capable as anybody,
my guess,
theoretically anyway, of scoring a goal.
My guess is it's something to do with how he played away from the puck. That was the same reason that he scratched Kurashev, and Kurashev was producing points. I mean, I know he's got a rotation of guys he needs to get in there. Scratching Kurashev was a bit of a head scratcher, no pun intended. And then again, 2 games in a row without him after he had points in back-to-back games. And then I know, again, on the defense, you kind of got to rotate guys in and out. But Riley Stillman's coming off one of his best games of the season. Then you sit him. I know you got rotation, you got to get bodies in, but you also got to reward guys when they're performing. So as much as I've said that, I'm fine with Derek King as the coach, there's still some questionable things that happen where it's like, well, what did Riley Stillman deserve to do to get taken out of the lineup tonight? I don't think anything really. I mean, and then we see Caleb Jones gets back in there and fails to tie up a stick. So maybe not the best move. But you got to criticize him when it's deserved, but then you got to give him credit where credit is due. And Vlasic has been much better. and it's because he's getting more playing time, and there's more confidence being put in him. So, you can say scratching Stillman was not a good move, but then you can also say, well, he's seeing that Vlasic is earning more ice time and giving him that ice time, and he's played very well. It seems like he's comfortable. He's adjusted to the NHL speed.
Liked his game lately.
And, he's looked really well. I think pairing him with a Seth Jones the last few games has helped a lot, too. I mean, who else would you put him out there with right now?
That's it.
I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, you don't want him to pick up Calvin DeHaan's bad habits of the blind pass into the middle of ice when nobody's there.
That's happened a lot lately.
It is. It's
and it's not just him either.
No, but
yeah,
you don't need to see it from a guy like Calvin DeHaan, who's supposed to be one of your veterans.
Right.
Alex Vlasic makes that pass. You can say that's a rookie mistake. Calvin DeHaan doesn't have that excuse.
No.
Jake McCabe doesn't have that excuse. Stop with the blind passes in the middle of the ice from behind your own net.
Yep. Hopefully those lessons get learned. But when DeHaan's doing it, that's a guy with enough mileage on him to know better.
Yeah.
I know these guys are trying to make plays happen, but geez, keep it simple, stupid, right? That's the saying for a reason. It shouldn't be this complicated. Got an interesting comment in the chat there from Justin. He says he's actually sort of excited about next season, much like he is for this year's Cubs team. There are zero expectations, and he's sort of psyched for that. Justin, I'm sort of with you. Look, I know they're going to lose, but I think rebuilds can be fun as long as you see the light at the end of the tunnel with them, right? If you start to see young players really develop, I know Kirby Dach is hurt and Reichel did not have a great game tonight, but if you start to see these young players grow, and that's why I think we see Regula and we see Vlasic, and you mentioned Riley Stillman and Caleb Jones, you start to weed out which guys are here for the long haul and which ones aren't, and you start to kind of see a path to the next generation of good Blackhawks hockey, and I think rebuilds can be really fun. The remainder of the season is painful. It's been hard on everybody. We've talked about this a lot. I'm actually later in the show going to share some comments from a Blackhawks rival that really stuck out to me today in terms of how a captain is supposed to act. So stick around to hear those comments after we talk to Mario. But yeah, I'm excited for a rebuild as long as it works. If it's just going to be this for the next 6 years, not so much. But as long as Kyle Davidson, who so far has done pretty well with the decisions he's made in terms of transactions and things like that, I'm encouraged. Now, what's he going to do at the draft? He doesn't have a ton of draft capital. Is he going to acquire any? Yada, yada, yada. But rebuilds can be fun. They can be exciting. And, when they pay off, it's even that much more rewarding. You mentioned the Cubs. I think the 2016 Cubs are a great example of that. You had all these guys coming up through your system thinking, okay, well, if this guy pans out and this guy pans out and this guy pans out, and then they all pan out, and all of a sudden you're hoisting a trophy.
Yeah, there wasn't a lot of fans that went through this with the 2010 Hawks. There weren't a lot of people in the building in 06 and 07, 08. It wasn't, a lot of people jumped on board when they got good, when they made it that run in 09 and, of course, 2010. So there wasn't a lot of the buildup. It was like, hey, the Blackhawks are good. Let's watch them again. So now you got all those fans who joined in on the Stanley Cup era, and they've stayed as fans, and now they get to kind of experience that. And hopefully the end result is the same. But as Justin said, I mean, there is a reason to be kind of, I don't know if excited is the right word, but hopeful.
Hopeful, yeah.
He's got the right mindset. Go in the next season with zero expectation of success, and maybe be pleasantly surprised that you get some guys that turn out to be pretty good hockey players. Next season is going to be all about identifying who's beyond next season. You got to start seeing results from these guys. Next season, you got to make your final decision on a Kirby Dach. You're in year 4 of this. If he has another season like this, it's time to move on.
And
if not,
maybe it works for him somewhere else.
Maybe,
but
let it work for him somewhere else at that point.
We have heard allusions to him having some mental frustrations, trying to live up to the pressure, trying to live up to the draft pick, trying to live up to all those things.
He's never going to do that at this point.
Just to be clear, I'm not writing Kirby Dach off, but sometimes when you see that happen to a player in a sport, the best thing for them is a change of scenery. And maybe the change of scenery is not Stan Bowman and not Jeremy Colleton and it's a fresh coaching staff, maybe led by Derek King, but some different guys. Maybe it's some other veterans brought in that can be a little more helpful in accommodating. I don't know. But whatever is happening for Kirby Dach right now has not worked so far. I'm not giving up on him. I think the ship has sailed on him being a superstar, but I still think it's in the cards for him to be a really solid number 2 center, and I think that can still happen. But
you got to start.
We got to see, and you're right. You've got to decide this relatively soon. And I wonder how Kyle Davidson, if you get him, over a couple beers, how he feels about.
Well, I don't think Kyle Davidson has any loyalty to him. He didn't pick him.
No, nor should he.
He can if Kirby Dach underachieves again next season, he can be like, well, I got rid of the last guy. Everybody hated that draft pick. I got rid of him. So, I mean, it's a no-lose situation for him in that regards. He can either be like, I'm the guy that turned Kirby Dach around, or I'm the guy that got rid of this bum. One of the two.
Yeah.
So either way, he's going to look good at the end because that's not his guy. That wasn't his draft pick.
Well, and I think that sort of informs a lot of the offseason stuff that's going to come up too, because he's got no loyalty to Taves or Kane or whoever else. So I'm really interested to see how this offseason is going to go. This is
going to be not fun, but it's definitely
fascinating.
There's going to be, we're going to get an idea of what Kyle Davidson envisions is what a winning hockey team looks like. He's not going to be able to do it all in one offseason, but we're going to get an idea by what he drafts, what he goes after in free agency, what he values. We're already seeing a little bit of that. He wanted size. He wanted some energy guys.
Willingness.
Which is good. You need that, but you also can't have dressed 12 Sam Laffertys every night because you're going to try real hard.
You can have a lot of nice drives to the net, and then he keeps going behind the net.
Right, exactly. That's we pointed that out today. It's like, how many times is he beats his guy, and then he gets too close and goes, oh, crap, I got to do another lap. But he's not Johnny Gaudreau. He's going to get cut off at some point.
Exactly. And he's going to keep cycling. It's fine. Just have the puck, that's a good place to start for the Blackhawks. Right. Hey, we appreciate all the support in the chat and everybody chiming in on everything. But the best way to support us here at CHGO is to download that PointsBet app and use the code CHGO when you sign up. If you do that right now, you'll get 2 risk-free bets up to $2,000. But that's not it. If you make a $50 or more first-time deposit, you'll receive a free CHGO membership. That unlocks all of our web content, and you'll even get a free shirt of your choice from the CHGO locker. That's $2,000 in free bets, a free CHGO membership, and a free t-shirt from the CHGO locker, all for making a $50 or more first-time deposit at PointsBet. Any issues with that? Email pointsbet@allchgo.com, and we'll help you out. PointsBet is your home for live in-play betting, and it just got even better. Introducing PointsBet's new feature, Live NBA Same-Game Parlay, right in time for the playoffs. For the first time ever, you can build the perfect live NBA Same-Game Parlay only with PointsBet. Watch live, parlay live, and boost live with PointsBet. And now online sign-up is available in Illinois, so you can download that app and register from start to finish from your phone. So what are you waiting for? Once the game starts, don't just bet. Live your bet life with PointsBet. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-522-4700. Breaking news here from our own Mario Tirabassi on Twitter. Derek King says Lucas Reichel is headed back to the Ice Hogs after tonight's game. Okay.
Well, I mean,
I don't understand.
Why bring him up?
Why bring him up? Why burn the year for one extra game?
2 extra.
2 extra games. This to me makes zero sense.
To me, this has got more to do with Davidson wanting to get him on that bridge deal a year sooner, which,
okay.
I mean, maybe you can keep him an extra year, and then his second contract, he's an RFA 2, so you get 2 negotiations with him. I don't know. It doesn't make sense, but,
Look, I get the reasoning that we were given. Charlie Romeliotis, I believe, the first guy to write it, was just... Yeah, you want to get to that bridge deal sooner so it's hopefully not as expensive? Okay. 3 is more than 2 last time I checked, and whatever. It frustrates me, and I wonder what – look, I think Lucas Reichel is a pretty confident kid, but it's just – I don't know. It just feels – I'm trying not to let my frustration about the moment cloud my logic and cloud my common sense and my objectivity, but I'm just feeling very annoyed by this right now.
Yeah, I guess so. And, hopefully in 4 or 5 years, nobody's going to remember this.
Yeah.
Maybe they're going to put him down to Rockford. They're playing the Wolves tomorrow night in Rosemont, so he can go jump right in the lineup. Maybe they just want him there for a game or two so they clinch that playoff spot, which they can do this week. And then maybe he comes back up and plays the final week. Maybe it was just easier. Hey, the Wolves, the Ice Hogs are playing in Rosemont, and then they're at home this weekend. Why take the West Coast road trip to play 9 minutes, get some meaningful game? I don't know.
Yeah,
there's really,
that's why I'm not gonna, flip over this very nice table right now, because there is probably a logical explanation for it, but seeing him play as little as he did tonight, then getting that news on the heels of the year being burned, it just is kind of like, I hope there's a plan. There must be a plan. It just it is not abundantly clear to me at this moment.
The next time Kyle Davidson has a media opportunity, if I'm there, I will. That's one of the first questions I will ask. What's the Lucas Reichel plan? Why did that go down the way it did?
Well, hopefully they explained it a little more. But
yeah, but to me, this shows that we have a general manager that actually is actually thinking 3-4 years down the road, which, while this is a frustrating situation and doesn't necessarily make sense, it is really refreshing that we have a general manager that's thinking 3 or 4 years down the road, because you could never accuse Stan Bowman of thinking 3 or 4 down the road.
Yeah, you can understand why I'm not used to feeling that way.
Exactly.
Right?
So it's a new experience for us that we have a GM that actually has some foresight and says, hey, I don't want this guy's contract to be a problem sooner rather than later, so let's figure this out. So who knows?
Yeah.
Or maybe they just completely dropped the ball. That's 100% possible.
There's nothing I've seen from Kyle Davidson that indicates stupidity.
No.
So I think there's certainly a plan, and I don't understand it at the moment, but he does, and I'm sure it's logical and all those sort of things, and when he explains it, will make perfect sense. But in this moment, I'm just sort of like, what in the hell? What are we doing?
Well, maybe
here?
we'll be lucky enough one day to have him sitting in one of these chairs, and we can ask him.
That would be nice.
And
but we shouldn't. And now we've got some future interviews planned, and we're going to talk to Chris Foster's next week.
Chris Foster's will be here, the new play-by-play guy. He's going to join us in studio next week. We'll definitely be sending out that information, but it'll be fun to have him here and give him an opportunity to just talk about himself.
Yeah.
So not only us here, but all you guys and Blackhawk fans across the globe can learn a little bit more about this guy, because whether you agree with how this whole season went down or not, he's the guy.
Yeah.
And I think his last couple of broadcasts, now that knows he has the job, he's not auditioning anymore,
right?
And I think him and Edzo are starting to build a little chemistry there. They're starting to get a little back and forth. Just as I said when he got hired, he's not Pat Foley. He's never going to be Pat Foley. Don't hold him to those standards, and give him a little bit of patience to grow into the job and become a Chicago Blackhawks play-by-play announcer.
Right.
And I think he'll be just fine.
That should be, for your planning purposes, look for that to happen a week from tomorrow on Tuesday. What would that be, the 26th?
26th, I believe it is.
Yeah, so
we don't have the times ironed out just yet, but that is the fairly certain date we will get Chris Foster's here on the CHGO Blackhawks.
It'll be
podcast.
fun. I'm really looking forward to that, because I do want to get to know him a little bit personally. I mean, obviously, the Hawks are loyal. They keep people in positions for a long time, and hopefully Chris has a job for the next 39 years like Pat Foley did, and it's a guy we have a relationship with and can have on often, because
I've had the chance to talk to him a few times at practice.
Yeah.
Great guy.
Seems like
very
it.
personable. So he'll be a really good he'll be a great interview. We're looking forward to definitely having him here in the studio.
Speaking of things we're looking forward to, Mario's with us.
There he is.
From the United Center. We are now officially powered up. Mario, thanks for joining us, man. I know we just saw your tweet. We just read your tweet. The breaking news that Lucas Reichel is headed back down to Rockford. Did Derek King have anything else to add on that decision? Any sort of explanation?
He just said that he wanted to get him back because Rockford's got some bodies that are banged up in his terms, and he's going down to help them solidify their Calder Cup playoff push. So not really surprising to see Reichel go back. we didn't really know if it was going to be immediate or at the end of the regular season for Chicago, but looks like it'll be following tonight's game now. Reichel will be headed back to Rockford. So
yeah, the Ice Hawks did lose. They lost Brett Conley to an injury on Saturday, and then they lost DJ Busdecker, another young forward, to injury Sunday. So, yeah, I guess the timing makes sense. Right now, I think the Blackhawks, one of their biggest things they're focusing on is an Ice Hogs playoff run here. So, not a confusing move, but in the end, probably the right move.
Did he indicate anything about why Reichel played so little in this game? Just over 9 minutes. Team low, aside from Entwistle, of course. Team low 9 minutes.
No real indication as to why. It just kind of just seemed like maybe it was kind of the night to maybe make the decision that Reichel should be going back to Rockford. Maybe it was I mentioned it earlier online during the game. It was the first time Reichel's kind of been pretty much invisible in an NHL game this season. And I don't know, maybe it was just the decision was maybe made after a performance like tonight where he just didn't really have it. And maybe at that point you kind of just say, all right, before you lose it, before you lose some confidence, lose some of that, that edge in your game here with Chicago, let's send him back to Rockford, allow him to, go back to the team and help them get over the hump and get into the postseason, and then be the Lucas Reichel that we've seen at the AHL level this year, back again with the Ice Hogs as they push into the postseason.
Do we have an update on the long-term prognosis on Mackenzie Entwistle?
It appears that it'll be kind of a day-to-day thing. He mentioned it was an upper body, kind of a stinger. He and Kirby Dach will not be going on the road trip.
Okay,
that is coming from Derek King. So it looks like it'll be time for players like Philip Kurashev and Henrik Borgstrom to get back into the lineup. So with Dach and Entwistle, they'll be out for the next couple of games.
I had forgotten Henrik Borgstrom was still on this roster. Thanks for reminding me.
It's exciting.
Yay.
Really excited to see good old number 13 back in there.
Yeah.
That's gonna keep our energy up, those late night games.
Yeah, the thing is, with tonight's game, it was a pretty good effort considering the fact that this is a Calgary team that we've mentioned before on the show. They're going to be a very difficult team in the postseason, a very tough team to get out. They've got speed, they've got skill, they've got a solid goaltender, and the Blackhawks. It was a decent effort against a quality opponent, even though it's a 5-2 score. It was a closer game than that, but it's just one of those things where you have an opponent like Calgary come in and you just see the difference between where they're at and where Chicago is, and the gap that'll need to be closed over the next few seasons, but. Hard to harp the Blackhawks on their effort tonight. It was there. A couple fluky goals against Kevin Lankinen. After the first half of the first period where 3 goals were given up, Lankinen pretty much settled down into the second and third periods. It was good to see, but yeah, like I said, just the talent gap, the speed gap. It was just very evident tonight. The difference between these two teams.
But when I look at a team that I would love to see Kyle Davidson model the next great Blackhawks team after, that's it. I think Calgary, look, they're not as good as Colorado or Florida or maybe Tampa, but I just see a team that is going, like you said it, they're going to be a pain in the ass in the playoffs. They are built for playoff hockey. Big, strong, mean, fast, deep. They are going to be a tough out in the West. And
they got a really good goalie.
And, underrated goalie in Markstrom. I think they got a solid chance. I think it's Colorado and everybody else in the West right now, but it would not shock me to see Calgary win the Western Conference and face off against Florida or Tampa or whoever. I'm sort of, we're all rooting for the Wild, of course.
Hey, Calgary Wild Western Conference Final.
That'd be awesome.
I'd watch that series.
I would love that. And that means
It doesn't matter who wins. The Hawks already get the first round
that's
pick.
a first round pick for the Hawks. Exactly.
So that's what we're cheering for. Minnesota, Calgary, or as our late great friend the Grobber used to say, Calgary.
Calgary. Well, so how was overall Derek King? Just based on what you said so far, Mario, it seems like Derek King probably, I don't want to say pleased, but satisfied with the overall effort of this game.
Yeah, he wasn't, the soft-spoken, disappointed dad that we've seen before. He was. It's a loss, so obviously it's nothing to really be that happy about. But I think he was fine with the effort. I think he's been impressed a little bit with the play of Alec Regula and Alex Vlasic, as you've seen with some of his some of the ice time that he's given to those two young defensemen. And the responsibilities he's given them, he praised them tonight, their efforts, which I think is very much warranted. But again, it's not really a game where you can pound the desk and say we should have won. Anything to get angry over. It just is what it is at this point in the season with the Blackhawks, and Derek King was just kind of trying to, as he usually does, try and find the positives amongst the negatives. So.
Well, you mentioned Vlasic, and that's one of the guys we started the show talking about. Over the last 3-4 games, he's really seemed to turn a corner and is getting rewarded with the ice time you mentioned. And this one, 15:46 of ice time, really solid. Starting to see him take some chances and activate offensively, playing with a lot more confidence and belief in himself. So I've really been impressed with how he's come from signing the contract to Derek King saying he can't play in the NHL right now, he's just not ready, to now being someone that Derek King is depending on and him not looking out of place. I think you look at the top 6 right now and what's available, he's probably, in my eyes, number 4, which is crazy. It's a crazy thing to think at this point. But over the last 3-4 games, he's been not terrific, but he's been really solid.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy what happens when you can give a player some regular ice time and allow them to build their confidence. They can actually build their confidence. And with Alex Vlasic, we saw in the first couple of games it was 5 minutes, 6 minutes, 7 minutes of ice time. It's like, okay, well, what's the point of doing that on a team that has lost the season and isn't playing meaningful games? We were, on the show, we were saying send him to Rockford, give him meaningful minutes. Now he's getting meaningful minutes, and he's not just being handed them; he's earned them, which is probably even better of a showing of his abilities and what he can do to develop than if he had been sent to Rockford and given 15 to 18 minutes there. So it's good to have seen him build that confidence here in Chicago and be getting the responsibilities of being on the penalty kill in the NHL and being able to actually jump into the offensive zone a few times a game. And I think he's adjusting to the speed of the game. I think that was one of the biggest things, not only jumping from college to the NHL, but also not being the fastest skater, just kind of getting used to the speed of the game. And I think he's starting to make that adjustment. And I think it's really just building in his confidence and gazelling the puck into the offensive zone a few times a game is not bad to see from him. So, I think he's getting rewarded, and seems like him and Regula will probably stick it out for the next couple of games and then make their way to Rockford towards the end of the season.
It's given us good. It's training our eyes well for next season, the next couple of seasons. This is what you want. You want to see young guys get their chance and progress. The next handful of seasons is all going to be about progression of these young players. So this is a good start of what we need to be watching for. It's not going to be about if they win or lose or all this other stuff. It's going to be about, are these players on an individual level becoming better NHL players? And we're seeing Vlasic take baby steps towards becoming becoming an NHL player, let alone a better NHL player. So it's good practice for us as analysts and the fans out there to be like, hey, is this guy getting better throughout the course of a season? Is he better after 10 games? Is he better after 20 games? And these are the types of things that the Blackhawks front office are going to be doing as well. It's all about progression. And it's very nice to see some out of Vlasic, a guy that was not trusted at all, to now all of a sudden playing with Seth Jones and playing big minutes and getting some of that responsibility. Not just giving it to him, as you said, Mario. He's been earning it. He's earning the trust of Derek King. Trust is a two-way street in the NHL, and he's starting to get it.
Well, I think that the development thing, too, is something that the Blackhawks brass is going to be asking themselves about Derek King. Like, since he's taken over, who has improved? Who's gotten better? And we've got all offseason to sort of audit that whole thing. But, over the losing streak, the three of us sort of joked, like, I think the Hawks are waiting to take that interim tag off, and they're just waiting for a win. But, Mario, Greg and I were talking during the game, and I said to Greg, I don't feel as confident that Derek's going to be back as I did a week ago. And I don't know, it could just be based on some recent roster decisions or performances or whatever. I'm not feeling as confident. I think, Greg, you said you felt about the same, that he would be back. Just kind of want to gauge your thought on that. Looking back a week, has your confidence level in him retaining a job gone up, down, stayed the same? How do you feel?
I think it's pretty much stayed the same. I don't think I've really seen anything that really deters me from thinking that, what's the worst that could be done to bring him back for at least another year. I think he hasn't done anything to necessarily show that he's incapable of doing the job and being able to communicate, connect, and down the line develop some of the young players. I think he has that rapport, and I think he's growing into being an NHL coach. And I think that because it's not just the development of the players, it's also seeing the development in him as an NHL coach. And I think when he first took over for Jeremy Colleton, I think he might have been deferring a lot of things to his assistant coaches and Mark Crawford especially. But I think as the season has gone on, I think Derek King is starting to grasp a little bit more of the team and taking a little bit more initiative as the head coach, which is good to see. Obviously, the results they don't really follow the full progression. But again, this isn't the time where wins and losses are really going to matter. And you can't look at the lineup and say, oh, this is a winning team. You have to look at the small things. And I think Derek King is someone who really values and pays attention to the small things and trying to get his players to do the little things right before they can make the big leaps. And I think that's going to be important for a lot of the players on this roster over the next year or two to instill in them and make sure that they're doing those things. So I think if we take these last six games now after tonight, these last 6 games to kind of get a final idea of what Derek King can do with young players, I think will be interesting to see. But no, I don't think anything has really changed with his status. I saw a question pop up real quick there at the bottom. Who would you bring in? I think that's the biggest question is what is the point in going through a head coaching search to find a guy who's going to be a placeholder? Because you're not going to go and get your win now coach now. Who are you going to attract to try and come in to a rebuilding job unless you're going to go with another young or unproven coach or coach who's just trying to hang on to an NHL job? I really don't think the pickings would be great for the Blackhawks. So I think it's more or less probably feeling comfortable with Derek King enough to say, hey, give him another year and see where things go.
I think any person you bring in right now, nobody's lining up around the block beating down Kyle Davidson's door to take this job. Anybody you bring in right now is going to be a lateral move. It's not going to be anything. It's going to be somebody that's basically unproven, as you said, or retread. Nobody's. So listen, I'm interested to see if Derek King is allowed to pick his own coaching staff, what he brings in here. Assistants can make a big difference too.
Yeah.
You know what, Mark Crawford, thanks for playing. I'm kind of over that. He was kind of brought in here to be the hand holder to Jeremy Colleton. I don't think he's really needed anymore. So let Derek King pick his staff. Let's see what he puts together. And if the Blackhawks are god-awful next year, it's probably not necessarily going to be his fault. And if he helps them be really bad, That's not the worst thing in the world either. Like, oh no, Derek King helped the Blackhawks get the #1 overall pick and get Connor Bedard. That jerk! How dare he?
There's
That's
three
a
franchise changers in the 2023 top 3 picks of the draft. So
if
King,
King,
if they're terrible and can get a shot at one of those 3, hey, that's
a
fine
bonus.
by me. Yeah.
It's not the worst thing in the world. So there literally is there are more pros than cons to bringing him back at this point.
All right, why don't
Not
we do
many more, but
No,
a
yeah,
couple.
you're right. Let's get to our 4 stars of the game. Before we do,
Speaking of pros,
want to let everybody know about our sponsor, Kent Simpson of the Simpson Law Group. After over a decade of prosecuting homicide cases as an assistant Cook County State's attorney, Kent opened his own firm over 20 years ago, specializing in all forms of personal injury cases, including injuries as a result of accidents, including cars, trucks, motorcycles, bicycles, boats, planes, hoverboards, DeLoreans, unicycles, what are those things? Pogo sticks, rollerblades, but not roller skates, and buses. Construction accidents, nursing home abuse, medical negligence and birth injuries, slip and fall cases, and injuries as a result of hazardous drugs or products. Look, if someone's stupidity got you hurt, call Kent Simpson. His firm's results speak for themselves, with millions recovered for their clients, and they charge no fees unless they win for you. So call for a free consultation. 312-332-2107. Don't go off sides. Go top shelf. Call now. SinsonLawGroup.com. That's SINSON lawgroup.com. We welcome Kent, and we love Kent, and he'll be part of the show from time to time as legal news dictates. And hopefully we get a little bit of a break from that crap for the next little while. That would be wonderful. All right, 4th stars of the night. We usually go left to right, and I'm on the left. I will go with Jake Mccabe. Thought he just is one of the guys on this team who is undeniably giving it everything he's got. Playing hard. Jonathan Taves took a clean, legal hit from Nikita Zadorov. I don't like the fact that you had to fight when you hit a guy clean, but Jake Mccabe was the guy who went in there and stood up for the captain. As stupid as I think that is, he did it. He's out there giving everything he's got, as limited as that may be in terms of offense. The guy's playing hard. He's a veteran with a big contract, a guy who probably doesn't have to play hard because he's pretty secure, and he's out there playing hard. So I'm going to give it to Jake McCabe.
that is
I like how McCabe is becoming your version of Dylan Strome for me.
I know,
Yeah, he
really.
is. Yeah.
He's been hitting lately.
Well, that's the true spirit of the 4-star, you know?
Right.
I am going to go with Jake McCabe's defensive partner tonight, Alec Regula, picking up his first NHL goal. It wasn't the prettiest thing in the world. It was, let's face it, it was a soft goal for a goaltender like Markstrom to allow, but it still counts, damn it. It's still worth
It's
1
still
point
real to
on the
me, damn it.
scoreboard. So, hats off to Regula, a nice kid. And listen, he played a really good game. Up until those empty net goals, he was a +2 on the night.
Mm-hmm.
So he was on the ice for the first 2 goals. The only 2 goals the Blackhawks scored. The one was on the ice for the other one. Was only on the ice for one of the empty net against almost 19 minutes of ice time. I'm going to go on a limb and say that was the most he's had this season, possibly. So an all-around solid game. He's another kid that we're seeing progress, gain some confidence, and he's earning the trust of Derek King. So good job, young Mr. Regula. Buy Markstrom that steak.
Do it. Steak dinner, boom. Mario?
I'm going to go with another guy who scored tonight, Tyler Johnson. First point since returning to the team after having neck surgery earlier this season. Talk about a guy who has had probably one of the most challenging seasons of his professional career. Not only, coming to a new team, having to leave the Tampa Bay Lightning, a team that is likely going to be going on a deep playoff run, and coming to Chicago and starting the year and getting some chemistry going right at the beginning of the season, and then coming down with an injury and then dealing with COVID, and then he has to have neck surgery, and then he's out, and then he comes back and he's not clicking. So it was a lot of hills for him to climb this year, but good for him to get back to the goal column with his second goal and 4th point of the season. He spoke after the game and just kind of mentioned how the year has been for him, and how challenging it has been, and it's kind of been tough to get into a groove even since he's been back. But good for him to get the goal tonight, and he's my 4th star pick.
All right. Mario, we're going to let you go. We'll talk to you tomorrow.
We had a fourth star.
Who's our guy though?
Oh, that's right. We got to decide.
It's tough.
Let's give it.
I'll concede to Regula just because
let's do that.
He got the first NHL goal, first NHL point, and he mentioned in the post game that his mom made the last minute decision to drive from where they live in Michigan to Chicago to see the game. So. Good call by Mom. She's able to be in the stands for
all right.
first
Well,
goal.
that's our fourth star of the game. Mama Regula is our fourth star of the game. She willed that goal past the sneaky glove hand of Markstrom.
Mama Regula, also my favorite brand of frozen pizza.
Yes.
Top notch.
There you go.
All right, Mario, we'll talk to you tomorrow. Reminder, everybody, we're audio only. The podcast will drop at 3:30 tomorrow afternoon. So make sure you're subscribed on your preferred podcast app. Mario, we'll talk to you then, buddy. Thank you. Drive safe.
Sounds good, guys.
All right, dude. We'll see you. All right, Mario Tirabassi from the United Center. And, yeah, man, this is what it feels like this is what most of the post games are going to be from here on out to the end of the year is what are the moral victories? Who are the guys that are still proving that they deserve a chance to play? Who's playing hard? Who's still trying? And, look, we're almost done in this season from hell, honestly. And I think the players are looking forward to it ending. And I'm not, because I don't want the post games to end, because I love doing the post games, and I'm not looking forward to 5 days a week of off season. But hey, we're going to be here for you every day, 5 days a week, and during the playoffs, during free agency, draft, all that stuff. So we're not going anywhere, and I think a lot of people are ready to turn the page on this whole deal. A couple coach suggestions from the chat. Tom Quinn mentions Jim Montgomery, who left the Dallas Stars after some alcohol struggles. Seems to have things back in order. He fully acknowledged, yes, they were right to fire me at the time. I was out of control. Seems like he's gone and gotten the required treatments, and those things work when you're committed to them. But I don't know if the Hawks want to look. I don't think that that's baggage. I think that everyone's got their vice. People work through them, and they overcome, and they should be given an opportunity again to prove themselves. But the Hawks coming off what they just did might want to steer clear of any sort of potential controversy or drama. And a couple of people have brought up Syracuse coach Benoit Giroux, who, like we've been saying kind of about Derek King, an unproven commodity. Maybe he's a little better. We don't know. But it's a name to keep an eye on for sure. It's a name that's been mentioned a lot, but I can't tell you with any sort of maybe Mario or Greg would have better insight on Benoit Giroux, as they have a little more insight on the AHL than I do.
I mean, a lot of people say he's great with young talent, which is not a lie, but he gets really good young talent being Tampa Bay's.
Yeah.
It's very easy to be an AHL coach of a team that drafts well.
Yeah.
Ask Ryan Warsofsky of the Chicago Wolves. He's a good coach, but it also helps that he gets really good young talent to coach too.
Right.
Where Derek King never had that luxury at all with the Ice Hawks.
Every good pick the Hawks made was immediately in Chicago.
Right. He never had any
Boquist and Doc, and Boquist was there a while. But
the best AHL young talent Derek King ever had to work with was Dylan Sekura. So, yes, when you have really good players, the coach looks a lot better. I'm not saying he's not a good coach. He might very well be, but, maybe Tampa is grooming him to be like, hey, John Cooper probably doesn't want to be here forever. Wins a couple more cups or just whatever. Maybe they kind of got an agreement with him saying, hey, stay in Syracuse and you'll eventually get your chance here. Who knows? Those aren't bad ideas. Jim Montgomery, as somebody who is recovering myself and been struggling for over 3 years to stay sober, I believe people deserve second chances. I'm not sure, if he's a good guy with young developing players. He took over that Stars team and did a very good job with a team that had a lot of veterans.
Right.
He had Radulov and Sagan and, and then those guys, John Klingberg on the back end, and he had a good core of guys there. So is he a guy that is good for a rebuilding team? I don't know. Could he be better than Derek King?
Sure,
maybe.
Could
he be worse than Derek King? Sure. Point is, I don't know if that's the right move to make. And is the Blackhawks job a job either of those guys want?
Right.
If you're the top young coach, the hot shot young coach coming out of the Lightning organization is taking the Blackhawks job on a rebuild, your dream gig. Do you leave the Tampa organization for that? I wouldn't.
Plus, you could be looking at a John Cooper situation of like, I've won a lot. I'm a young guy with a lot of money. I'm going to golf for the rest of my life.
I'll take that TNT cash and sit on my butt with no stress for the rest of my career.
Yeah, when Tampa decides to just kind of, all right, well, we've won enough. Time to give someone else a chance.
Time to let somebody else win.
Yeah, and he's right there. So I don't know. There's a lot of possibilities, but look, we'll get our answer here shortly.
Yeah,
one way or another. You know what arrived for me today? My Strava coffee.
It's
I cannot wait for the morning.
You're going to enjoy it because you're going to be able to start your day with a competitive edge.
Finally.
And you know what? We are going to need that Strava coffee for the next couple of days.
Yes,
We've got some late post-game shows coming, so we'll be drinking the Strava. But Strava CBD coffee, it really is a game changer. I've been drinking it for a few weeks now, and I love it. It's helped thousands of people improve their overall wellness and quality of life. Strava delivers delicious, fresh roasted specialty coffee with an organic, broad spectrum CBD. CBD from hemp doesn't make you high or hungry, but it does give you plenty of benefits, like you're going to feel alert and focused without the jitters. You're going to live your day more balanced with less anxiety and fewer aches and pains. Now, that's all of those things I can get rid of in my life.
Yeah.
Plus, including CBD in your daily routine can even help you enjoy more restful sleep and as you wake up feeling your best. And the best part is Strava is all about quality. Everything is small batch, fresh, and shipped straight to your door. It's delicious coffee. So if you love coffee, you're going to love the flavor of Strava. But then you also get concentrated full spectrum CBD for those looking to get a little something extra in your day, and you're going to feel the effect of those benefits. Also, the best part is CHGO listeners are going to save 25% off their entire purchase when you use the promo code CHGO25 at checkout. That is 25% off your entire order of StravaCraftCoffee.com when you use that CHGO25 code at checkout. And if you're already a big fan of Strava, which by now you should be, we've been singing its praises for a while right now, you can subscribe and save with the Strava Coffee Club. And that's where they put you in control. You can save on all your favorite coffees and have them automatically delivered to your home or office on your preferred schedule. They have a bunch of different flavors, and they also have a bunch of different levels of concentrated the CBD. So whatever you're looking for, they're going to take care of you. That's Strava, STRAVA coffee, craftcoffee.com, and that's CHGO25 to save 25%.
All right, we have a few minutes left, and there's something I want to share here with the class. Over the last little while, we've been talking about Jonathan Toews and his leadership throughout this rebuild. And a couple days ago, he flat out said, I want Kyle Davidson and company to tell me what they want from me in terms of leadership. He is, in my opinion, basically flat out saying, I'm not sure how to lead a rebuild. I know how to lead a winning team. I don't know how to lead a rebuild. Well, Dylan Larkin, the captain of the hated Detroit Red Wings, who
Detroit sucks,
lost last night 6-1 to the Panthers and Saturday lost 4-0 to the Rangers. He had a little bit to say after the loss last night, and I thought this audio from Dylan Larkin, Red Wings captain, is a really interesting juxtaposition from what we've heard from Jonathan Toews. So, Steven, if we could fire that up. This is
we
from
have to challenge ourselves,
RedWings.com.
and I've said it a lot. Someone can't push you out the door like it's minor hockey and give you candy after the game. You have to take pride in this, and you have to take pride in wearing the wing wheel and going out there and fighting for a job next year. And there's plenty of guys in our locker room that have to do that. I would say everyone, and you have to find that yourself, and it doesn't just come. You have to find it, and we play great teams here. Let's go out and give it our best, and we just haven't had enough of that. But you saw it against Carolina, and you see it at times. We need to see it every night.
One quick follow-up, if I may.
I take it personally. This is it's brutal. You know, to be here, I've been all 6 years, and it's no fun packing your bag at the end of the year, going to play in the World Championships or do whatever. You know, it just isn't. You want to play playoff hockey. We got a lot of guys in here that haven't been through this, but you got to remember it. You got to take it in and put it on yourself to come back and have a great year next year and make sure this doesn't happen again. It's just, you know, it can't happen much longer.
There you go. There's a 25-year-old captain of a team that throughout his tenure has never won, and that's what a captain should sound like.
Yeah.
That's what a captain should say when things are going poorly, when the wins are not coming, when the effort is not there. That is leadership. And look, Jonathan Toews was a fantastic captain for some fantastic Hawks teams, but it's easy to captain a winner. Show me your leadership ability when the chips are down. So maybe Jonathan Toews puts a call in to number 71 of the Detroit Red Wings and asks some advice from a 25-year-old over the summer, because Dylan Larkin's a guy who's familiar with losing.
Yeah, it's
and
all
as
he's
Hawks
known.
fans, we love to see it. We really do. But
yeah, he definitely has more experience in bad teams than Jonathan Toews does.
Yep.
But yeah, that's how you lead a team and say, listen, we gotta get our crap together here and play. It's not, you know, woe is me. I can't believe we're trading guys away.
Right.
I need to be part of the decision making around here. Me. It's us.
Play for pride in a sweater. And that's what he's saying. And, you know, Dennis Savard said it years ago.
Yeah.
Commit to the Indian. As silly as it sounded at the time, like that's really what it is. Like, this is the team you're on, so give everything you've got. And that's why for the three of us, it's been really easy for us to give the 4 stars over and over again to people like Jake McCabe, who are out there giving it everything they have through game 82. And why not? Why not go out there and show them everything you've got? Because every day in the NHL is a good day, right? And I think that's how players need to look at it. And for those guys who are not like Jake McCabe and Jonathan Toews, who don't have pretty solid guarantees are going to be here next year, they're trying to make the team and help those guys make the team by showing them how to play. And when you give your all, it's going to help them as well. So I think Dylan Larkin knocked it out of the park. Bad news for him. He had core muscle surgery today, so he's out for the remainder of the Red Wings season, but he should be back in time for next season. And I was just really impressed. You know, I follow all the teams on Twitter, and I just sort of, there's Dylan Larkin talking. He's in the bathroom, whatever. Just doing my business.
In the shower.
Oh, interesting. I think I actually was in the shower when I saw that.
Do all your best tweeting from the shower.
And I said, wow, this is a really strong juxtaposition of what we've heard from Toews lately. So, and I don't want to turn this podcast into ragging on Jonathan Toews. The dude's going to have a statue, and rightfully so. He will go down as the greatest captain in Hawks history, and rightfully so. But it's just there's been some disappointing moments from him this year. And if he's truly looking for inspiration on how to lead a team that's not expected to win and won't win, look no further than what Dylan Larkin just did.
Thankfully for Toews, his when it's all said and done, no one's going to remember these last couple of seasons and these things. They said it's all going to be about those 3 times he lifted Lord Stanley's Cup at center ice and handed it off to Marian Hossa. That's what people are going to remember, and rightfully so. So, 3-4 years from now, no one's going to remember these comments he's making, but we have to talk about them now. And as you said, it's disappointing. And, good for Dylan Larkin. We don't like the Red Wings here, but that kid's a heck of a player, and good for them. If they ever want to trade him, Kyle Davidson will answer the phone.
Yeah, definitely. By the way, I do not like the Red Wings, but I do think hockey is better when Detroit is good.
I can agree with that.
It's just when the original 6 is competitive, it is better for the league in general. So I want to see Detroit get back to where, maybe not back to where they were, but closer.
Yeah, I would like to see them. I would enjoy watching them lose in the playoffs.
Yeah, that would be wonderful. It's just so much sweeter when it's a playoff loss.
Let them blow a Game 7 lead and have their souls crush. That would feel good.
Oh, that's just thinking about
it. The Blackhawks aren't going to win anytime soon, so let's get our rivals to just have
that's hot.
soul-crushing losses. It's the best we can root for right now.
All right, everybody, thanks for joining us. We are going to be here all week. We got our audio-only show tomorrow, dropping at 3:30. Late night post games
Slumber
Wednesday
parties.
and Thursday. So it's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to be up late. Stay up with us. We are, as always, presented by PointsBet. Use that promo code CHGO when you sign up to get 2 risk-free bets up to $2,000. But that's not it. If you make a $50 or more first-time deposit, you'll receive a free CHGO membership, which unlocks all of our web content, and you'll even get a free shirt of your choice from the CHGO locker. That's $2,000 in free bets, a free CHGO membership, and a free t-shirt from the CHGO locker, all for making a $50 or more first-time deposit on PointsBet. For my partner, Greg Boysen, and Mario Tirabassi, who is driving home, I'm Jay Zawaski. Thanks for listening to the CHGO Blackhawks post-game podcast. We'll talk to you tomorrow afternoon. Take care, everybody.